What if I told you your brain is hiding secrets from you right now? Deep within the intricate folds of that 3-pound organ, a silent, ancient intelligence is at work, making decisions for you before you are even aware of them. It operates in the shadows of your consciousness, a hidden architect shaping your reality, your memories, and your deepest fears. This is not the stuff of fiction. It is the startling truth of our own biology. The very instrument you use to perceive the world is in many ways a master of deception, driven by a single, primal goal: survival. And it will keep its methods secret to achieve that goal. It filters what you see, edits what you remember, and even dictates how you feel, all without your permission. It is a powerful and sometimes unsettling partnership between you and the complex machinery inside your own head. Tonight, we'll uncover 7 mind-blowing facts your brain doesn't want you to know. We will journey into the hidden territories of the mind, exploring the neurological trapdoors and psychological sleights of hand that govern our existence. This exploration will take us to the very edge of what we think we know about ourselves. It will be a journey into the dark, a peeling back of the layers of our own consciousness to reveal the raw, powerful forces at play. Prepare to question your own perceptions, your memories, and perhaps even your free will. Stay till the end for a summary that might just change how you see yourself forever. Let us begin. In the vast, silent wilderness of the human mind, there exists a primitive and exceptionally vigilant guardian. It is a small, almond-shaped cluster of neurons known as the amygdala. This structure is the brain's ancient alarm system, a sentinel that has been honed over millions of years of evolution. Its sole purpose is to detect danger, and it does so with a speed that defies our own conscious perception. It is a hair-trigger response, a flash of instinct that precedes thought itself. Imagine walking through a quiet forest. A twig snaps nearby. Before you can even form the thought, what was that? Your heart is already pounding. Your muscles have tensed. Your body is primed for fight or flight. This entire cascade of physiological events was initiated by your amygdala in as little as 100 milliseconds. That's faster than the blink of an eye, faster even than the time it takes for the visual information to be fully processed and understood by your conscious mind. This incredible speed was a critical advantage for our ancestors. In a world teeming with predators, the difference between life and death was often measured in fractions of a second. The individual whose brain could react first, before consciously identifying the saber-toothed cat rustling in the bushes, was the one who survived to pass on their genes. Our modern brains are a direct inheritance of this legacy of survival, equipped with the same lightning-fast threat detection system. The amygdala receives sensory information through a kind of neurological shortcut, a low road that bypasses the more methodical, analytical parts of the brain, like the prefrontal cortex. While the cortex is slowly piecing together the full picture, identifying the sound, its location, its potential source, the amygdala has already sounded the alarm. It acts on incomplete, fuzzy information, preferring to trigger a false alarm than to risk a fatal delay. It is a system that prioritizes speed over accuracy. Let us try a small experiment. Think back to a time you were startled. Perhaps a door slamming shut unexpectedly, or a figure appearing suddenly in your peripheral vision. Recall that instantaneous jolt, that physical leap of surprise. That was not a conscious decision. That was your amygdala, hijacking your body before your thinking mind even had a chance to catch up. In that moment, you experienced the raw, unfiltered power of your brain's ancient protector. This is the first secret. Your brain assesses and reacts to danger long before you are aware of it. It operates on a timescale that is almost alien to our conscious experience. The feeling of fear, the racing heart, the tensed muscles, these are not things you choose to feel. They are commands issued by a deeper, older part of your mind, a part that is forever scanning the horizon for threats, real or imagined. The implications are profound. It means that in any situation perceived as threatening, your initial reaction is fundamentally emotional, not rational. the body responds first, and the mind's narrative follows, often struggling to make sense of a reaction that has already occurred. Your brain has made a judgment call about your safety, and you are simply along for the ride, a passenger in your own physiological response. Our memories feel like a faithful record of our past, a library of experiences we can access at will. But this is a grand illusion. Within the intricate architecture of your brain, a relentless process of pruning and deletion is constantly at work. The structure responsible for this is the hippocampus, the brain's archivist and librarian. Yet, its primary function is not to save everything, but to forget almost everything. It is a ruthless editor, driven by efficiency. Within just 24 hours of an experience, your brain begins to discard the vast majority of the details associated with it. This phenomenon, famously charted by the psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus, is known as the forgetting curve. It reveals a startlingly rapid decay of memory. The sensory minutiae, the mundane conversations, the specific sights and sounds, most of it is deemed non-essential and is swept away like digital detritus to free up cognitive resources. Why would the brain be so wasteful with our precious experiences? The answer lies in energy conservation. Storing, maintaining, and retrieving memories is an incredibly resource-intensive process. A brain that remembered every single detail of every single day would be quickly overwhelmed, bogged down by a sea of useless information. Forgetting is not a flaw in the system, it is a critical feature, designed to keep the mind agile and focused on what truly matters for survival and future prediction. The hippocampus acts as a temporary holding area for new memories. During the day, it collects experiences. Then, typically during sleep, it begins the sorting process. It strengthens the neural connections for memories that are emotionally significant, repeatedly accessed, or linked to existing knowledge. The rest? They are allowed to fade. The brain makes a bet on what information will be useful later and discards the rest. It is a high-stakes gamble with your personal history. Let's test this. Take a moment. Try to recall, in vivid detail, what you had for lunch exactly 3 days ago. Not just the general meal, but the specifics. What did it taste like? What were the textures? What were you thinking about as you ate? You may find that the memory is hazy, fragmented, or perhaps gone entirely. You are now experiencing the work of your brain's silent editor. The gaps you perceive are the details your brain has chosen to delete. This selective amnesia explains why our long-term memories often feel more like impressionistic paintings than high-resolution photographs. We remember the emotional core of an event, the joy of a celebration, the sting of a betrayal, but the peripheral details blur and vanish over time. The brain keeps the moral of the story, but throws away most of the manuscript. It is an act of profound and necessary simplification. So the second secret is that your brain is actively deleting your life's details to save space. Your memory is not a video camera, but a storyteller, constantly revising and editing the narrative of your life. It prioritizes the emotional and the essential, creating a streamlined and ultimately biased version of your past. What you remember is not what happened, but what your brain has decided is worth remembering. Your brain is a creature of immediacy. It lives to a surprising extent in the very last moments of the present. This is not a philosophical statement, but a neurological reality known as the recency effect. In any sequence of information, your brain assigns a disproportionate amount of weight and value to the final items it encounters. The last thing you hear, the last thing you see, the last argument made, it echoes in the short-term memory with a clarity that earlier information simply cannot match. This cognitive bias is a function of our working memory, a system with a notoriously limited capacity. As new information comes in, it pushes out the old. The items at the end of a list or a speech have the advantage of being the freshest, facing no subsequent information to interfere with them before a decision is made or a memory is consolidated. They are, quite literally, top of mind, and therefore feel more important and true. This subtle manipulation has profound consequences for our decision-making. Marketers, lawyers, and politicians have long understood this principle, whether by instinct or by study. The final call to action in an advertisement, the closing argument in a trial, the last talking point in a debate. These are all crafted to be the lingering thought in your mind. Your brain, without your conscious consent, is being nudged to obey the last thing it heard. It is a form of cognitive inertia. The brain, seeking the path of least resistance, will often seize upon the most easily accessible information. The recency effect ensures that the most recent data is the most accessible. This makes us vulnerable to manipulation, causing us to favor options or ideas simply because they were presented last, rather than because they are objectively the best. It's a shortcut that saves mental energy, but can lead us astray. Let us try a quick demonstration. I'm going to give you a short list of words. Simply listen and then try to recall as many as you can. The words are river, mountain, sky, forest, ocean, stone, cloud. Now, which words came to mind most easily? For many, stone and cloud will be among the first and clearest they recall. This is the recency effect in action. Those final words are still echoing in your auditory short-term memory. This is the third secret. Your brain gives undue authority to the most recent information it processes. It doesn't weigh all evidence equally. Instead, it operates with a bias for the now, allowing the final word to have the final say in many of your judgments and choices. It's a silent, invisible influence that shapes your behavior from moment to moment, a ghost in the machine that favors the ending over the beginning. Understanding this allows us to become more discerning listeners and thinkers. By being aware of this tendency, we can consciously pause and force ourselves to review all the information presented, not just the last piece. We can learn to resist the echo of the final word and make decisions based on a more complete and balanced picture of reality, reclaiming a small but significant measure of control from our brain's automatic processes. There is, a constant delicate power struggle within your brain. It's really a battle between two titans, the ancient emotional limbic system and the modern rational prefrontal cortex. In times of calm, the prefrontal cortex, the seat of logic, reason, and executive function, holds sway. It allows for careful planning, nuanced thought, and impulse control. But when fear enters the arena, the balance of power shifts dramatically and, honestly, terrifyingly. When the amygdala sounds its high-priority alarm, it triggers a flood of stress hormones, like cortisol and adrenaline. This chemical surge has a devastating effect on the prefrontal cortex. As shown in the work of neuroscientist Amy Arnsten, high levels of these neurochemicals effectively take the prefrontal cortex offline. Its complex, energy-intensive processes of logical reasoning are suppressed. The captain of the ship is, in essence, thrown overboard. In its place, the more primitive, reactive parts of the brain take command. Thought becomes binary, fight or flight, threat or safety. Nuance disappears. The ability to weigh long-term consequences, to consider alternative explanations, or to access complex memories is severely impaired. This is why, in moments of extreme panic, people can act in ways that seem completely irrational or even self-destructive. They cannot think straight because the part of their brain responsible for straight thinking has been silenced. This neurological shutdown is, actually, another legacy of our evolutionary past. For an ancestor facing an immediate physical threat, there was no time for deliberation. Hesitation meant death. An instantaneous, instinctual reaction was far more valuable for survival than a carefully reasoned plan. The brain evolved to sacrifice logic for speed when under duress. In the modern world, however, this mechanism can be profoundly maladaptive. Consider a time you experienced intense fear or panic, perhaps during public speaking, extreme turbulence on a plane, or a sudden emergency. Recall the feeling of your mind going blank, the inability to articulate your thoughts, the overwhelming urge to simply escape, the feeling of being a passenger in your own body. That was not a personal failing. That was a biological process, the deliberate silencing of your logical mind by your brain's fear circuitry. This is the fourth, and perhaps most unsettling, secret. Your brain will sacrifice your ability to reason in order to serve its primal fear response. Under threat, emotion does not just influence logic, it systematically dismantles it. Your capacity for rational thought is not a constant. It is a privilege that can be revoked at any moment by the deeper, more powerful forces of fear and survival. This understanding is crucial. It teaches us that managing our emotional state is not a matter of luxury, but a prerequisite for clear thinking. When we feel the grip of fear tightening, the first step is not to try and think our way out of it, because the very tool for thinking is being compromised. The first step must be to manage the physiological response, to calm the storm, so that the captain, the prefrontal cortex, can return to the helm. We consider ourselves to be autonomous, emotional beings, the masters of our own feelings. Yet, we are far more porous and interconnected than we believe. Within your brain exists a remarkable class of cells known as mirror neurons. First discovered by Giacomo Rizzolatti and his team, these neurons fire not only when you perform an action, but also when you simply observe another person performing that same action. They are the neurological basis of empathy and imitation. But their function extends beyond just actions. They also mirror emotions. When you see someone smile, a subset of your mirror neurons associated with the physical act and emotional feeling of smiling fire in your own brain. When you see someone grimace in pain, your brain simulates that pain. It creates a shared emotional space, a bridge between your mind and theirs. This process is automatic, instantaneous, and happens largely outside of your conscious awareness. This is why emotions can be so powerfully contagious. A wave of laughter can ripple through a room, seemingly of its own accord. The tension of a nervous person can make everyone around them feel inexplicably on edge. The joy of a crowd at a concert can lift your own spirits to a state of euphoria. You are, in a very real sense, catching the feelings of others, much like you would catch a cold. This mechanism is fundamental to social bonding and group cohesion. It allows us to understand and connect with one another on a deep, intuitive level, long before we can articulate those feelings with words. It is the glue that holds societies together, allowing for empathy, shared experience, and collective action. It is the reason a fictional character's sorrow can bring us to tears, or a hero's triumph can make our own heart swell with pride. Let's conduct a simple, yet powerful, experiment. Find a mirror, or simply turn on your phone's front-facing camera. Now, look at your own reflection and force yourself to produce a wide, genuine smile. Hold it for at least 30 seconds. Pay close attention to your internal state as you do. Many people report a noticeable, genuine shift in their mood. By physically mimicking the expression of happiness, your mirror neurons, along with other feedback loops, signal to your brain that you are happy, and your emotional state begins to align. Herein lies the fifth secret. Your brain automatically copies the emotions of those around you. You are an emotional chameleon, constantly and subtly adapting to the affective climate of your environment. Your feelings are not generated in a vacuum. They are part of a continuous, flowing exchange with the people you encounter. You are not just an observer of the emotional world. You are an active participant, whether you know it or not. This knowledge gives us a new lens through which to view our social lives. It highlights the profound impact that the people we choose to spend our time with have on our own well-being. Surrounding ourselves with positive, calm, or joyful individuals is not just a pleasantry. It is a direct method of regulating our own emotional state. We are, in part, a reflection of the company we keep. Your brain is a master of illusion, and its greatest trick is making you believe you are seeing everything. The reality is quite different. Your perception of the world is not a complete, high-fidelity stream of data. It is a heavily filtered, radically simplified model, constructed to save an enormous amount of energy. To do this, your brain employs powerful shortcuts and attentional filters, and in the process, It hides things from you in plain sight. This phenomenon is often called inattentional blindness. The most famous demonstration of this is the invisible gorilla experiment, where participants are asked to count basketball passes and completely fail to notice a person in a gorilla suit walking through the scene. Their attention is so narrowly focused on the counting task that the brain literally does not register the bizarre and obvious anomaly. It isn't that they forgot seeing it. For all intents and purposes, they never saw it at all. Why does this happen? Because processing every single photon of light and every single sound wave that hits your senses would be computationally impossible and energetically catastrophic. As detailed by Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman, the brain operates a two-system model: a fast, intuitive, and energy-efficient System 1, and a slow, deliberate, and energy-intensive System 2. To conserve the precious resources of System 2, the brain relies on System 1 for most of its daily operations, which involves filtering out anything deemed irrelevant to the current task. Your brain makes constant, unconscious assumptions about what is important and what can be ignored. It creates a spotlight of attention, and anything outside that spotlight may as well not exist. This is why you can search for your keys for 10 minutes, only to find them sitting right on the counter where you left them. Your brain, having already decided the keys were lost, filtered out the visual information that contradicted that assumption. Let us put this to a test right now. Without moving your head, take a moment to consciously count how many red objects are in your immediate field of vision. Go ahead and scan the room with just your eyes. Now, can you tell me without looking again how many blue objects you saw? The chances are you cannot. By tasking your brain to look for red, you effectively told it to ignore everything else. The blue objects were hidden from you by your own attention. This is the sixth secret. Your brain actively hides information from your conscious awareness to conserve energy. It presents you with a curated, simplified version of reality, tailored to your immediate goals. You are not experiencing the world as it is. You are experiencing the world as your brain needs it to be at that moment. The richness and detail you perceive is largely a clever and convincing fabrication. The implications of this are staggering. It means we are all, to some extent, blind. We miss obvious details, overlook critical information, and navigate our lives based on an incomplete picture. Recognizing this inherent limitation is the first step toward greater awareness. It encourages humility and the practice of deliberately shifting our attentional spotlight to see what our brain might otherwise have hidden from us. For the human brain, there is a fate perhaps worse than death or pain. It is uncertainty, the unknown. The modern mind, housed in an ancient survival machine, is fundamentally programmed to treat a lack of information as a direct and imminent threat. This is not a metaphor. The same neural circuits that light up when we face a physical danger are activated when we face an uncertain future. This deep-seated aversion to ambiguity was a powerful survival tool for our ancestors. An unfamiliar rustle in the grass was not a curiosity to be investigated. It was a potential predator to be fled from. An unknown berry was not a culinary experiment. It was a potential poison to be avoided. In a world of constant peril, the brain adopted a simple, brutal rule. What is unknown is dangerous until proven otherwise. This better safe than sorry protocol is deeply embedded in our neural wiring. Research by psychologists Gruppe and Nitschke has shown that the brain's threat response system, including the amygdala and insula, is often more active when anticipating a potential negative event than when experiencing the event itself. The state of not knowing, waiting for medical results, the outcome of a job interview, or a difficult conversation, can be more physiologically stressful than receiving bad news. The brain prefers a predictable negative outcome to an unpredictable one. This is because uncertainty paralyzes the brain's ability to plan and act. The prefrontal cortex, our engine of foresight and strategy, thrives on data and prediction. When faced with a void of information, it cannot compute a course of action. This inability to prepare a response is interpreted by the deeper brain as a state of extreme vulnerability. The result is a sustained stress response, anxiety, worry, and a relentless mental search for answers, any answers, to fill the void. Think about a time you were waiting for important news, suspended in a state of not knowing. Recall that gnawing feeling in your stomach, the racing thoughts, the inability to focus on anything else. That physical and mental agitation is your brain's threat system on high alert. You were experiencing your biology's profound intolerance for the unknown. Your brain was treating the uncertainty itself as the predator. This is the seventh and final secret. Your brain interprets uncertainty as danger, triggering a genuine threat response. This ancient programming, so useful in a primitive environment, can become a source of chronic anxiety and stress in our complex, information-rich modern world, which is inherently filled with ambiguities and unpredictable outcomes. We are constantly faced with situations for which our brains have no clear script. By understanding this, we can begin to reframe our relationship with the unknown. We can recognize the feeling of anxiety not as a signal of a guaranteed negative outcome, but as our brain's overzealous and outdated survival mechanism at work. We can learn to consciously reassure this ancient part of our mind, practicing tolerance for ambiguity and finding peace not in having all the answers, but in accepting that we don't need them to be safe. We have journeyed deep into the hidden corridors of the mind and returned with 7 unsettling truths. Your brain detects danger in a flash, deletes details, obeys the last thing it hears, silences logic under fear, copies emotions, hides information, and treats uncertainty as danger. These are not minor quirks. They are the fundamental operating principles of the very organ that generates your sense of self and your perception of reality. They reveal a powerful, autonomous force at work within you. The picture that emerges is both humbling and empowering. It shows that we are not the sole authors of our thoughts and actions. We are in a constant, dynamic dance with a biological machine forged by eons of evolutionary pressure. Remember, your brain controls you more than you control it. It is the silent master, the hidden architect, the invisible hand guiding your life in ways you are only now beginning to understand. But with understanding comes the potential for change. By shining a light on these secrets, we take the first step toward reclaiming a measure of influence over these automatic processes. We can learn to pause before acting, to question our immediate emotional reactions, and to be more mindful of the information we consume. If you found these secrets eye-opening, like, subscribe, and comment below with the one that surprised you most. By continuing to explore this inner world, we can learn to work with our brains, not just be ruled by them.